Well, hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sheraton Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. So, a couple of months ago, we deployed one of our field drinkers for our pigs out into the pasture. A couple of the benefits on this: don't have to stand there with a water hose all day. It's self-filling. The pigs just help themselves, and it just continues to fill, and you don't have to go out there every morning with a water hose and spend 20 or 30 minutes filling drinkers. So today we're going to go through the build on this. Actually recorded the footage last night. We were running out of daylight, so I got in a little bit of a hurry. So let's just see how that turns out. Then we'll come back after we go through the build footage. We'll talk specifically about this. We'll show a couple other things, and we'll wrap it up. So stick around with us for a little bit. Okay, if you're going to build a drinker, these are the primary components that you're going to need. I think I've got everything. If I've forgotten something, we'll address that whenever we get into actually doing the build. So you're going to need an IBC tote. Depending on your location, you're going to, price is going to vary. You can pick these up on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, that kind of thing. Entirely up to you on what you feel comfortable with in terms of what's been stored in that thing in the past. So you're going to need you an IBC tote. You're going to need a length of 3/4 inch PVC pipe. You're going to need some PVC primer, some cement, conduit cement. You're going to need a female thread to slip connector for 3/4 inch PVC. You're going to need a slip to male connector, 3/4 inch for PVC. You're going to need a 90-degree 3/4 inch elbow. You'll need a PVC to garden hose connector, or in this case we're using just a swivel connector. This is going to go on our male end 3/4 inch PVC, and then it's got the garden hose adapter on the other end. You'll need a little bit of Teflon tape. You're going to need your float valve. And I'll post a link to these in the description down below. We got to pick these up on Amazon. I think I got 2 of them for about 35 bucks. You'll need some decking screws. I've got a roll of just number 1 chain here. We'll use that to connect the platform to the drinker. A couple of hooks to hook those in. And then we're going to use a 12-foot pressure treated 4x4 and a 12-foot pressure treated 2x8. I think that's a 2x8, maybe a 2x10. So those are going to be your primary components that you'll need to build your drinker out of. Just some general hand tools: drill, skill saw. We're going to use an angle grinder to cut the bars off of this thing, and then we'll also use a reciprocating saw to cut the plastic. You can cut the plastic with your angle grinder if you want to, and we may do that. We'll see what works better. So those are the components. That's what you need to build these drinkers. So let's get to work and see what we can do with it. Alright, so first thing we've done is we've just cut a hole in the side of the IBC. Just took an angle grinder and cut those that metal caging off, and then cut part of that plastic with the angle grinder, and then finished it off with the just a reciprocating saw. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not a craftsman to begin with, but you want it tall enough and wide enough so that a full-size pig can get their head and shoulders in that far enough to dip their face down in it and drink. So that should be fine. If we need to take a little more off, it's super easy to grab the reciprocating saw, just go out to the field and trim it up a little bit. So got the hole cut, and now we'll start working on the top and a little bit of the plumbing. Not very pretty. I wriggled it out a little bit all you need, because the elbow will hold it.
I didn't need to wiggle it.
So the next thing we're going to do is measure how high off the bottom of the tote we want our float valve. And typically what we want to do is we want to leave about 2 or 3 inches, maybe 4, from the lip of the opening down to the water level, so the pig can get her head, his or her head in there. Got to lean over and drink just a little bit. Again, this is not perfect measurement. You're going to eyeball a whole lot of this, and you just want to make sure that you've got that water level high enough so they can find the water, because initially they're going to have a little bit of training to do to figure out where it is and how to get to it. So you want that water level to be high, but then you also want to make sure you've got it low enough off of that lip so they can't knock up against that IBC, splash that water out, and make a mud hole right in front of the tote. So we've measured our PVC pipe, and we're going to drop about that much. It ends up being around 24.5 inches down into the IBC tote. So we're just going to cut her off right here. So here's where we're going to do our plumbing work. We're going to take our float valve and our 3/4 inch PVC to female end, and we're going to put a little bit of Teflon tape around our float valve. And the float valve is going to go inside that 3/4 to female PVC, nice and snug. We're going to take one end of our line that's going to go down into the drinker. Just a little bit of prep on it there. Doesn't have to be perfect. Glue. Just attach it. Now, this is the piece that's going to go down inside of your drinker. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our PVC with our float valve on it. We're going to come up from the inside through the hole that we drilled in the top of the cap on this thing, and then we're going to put our 90-degree elbow on, and that's going to hold it from dropping down. So from here we're just going to cut a short piece of pipe that's going to come off of our 90 that's going to attach to our garden hose connector. It doesn't have to be precise. I'm going to cut maybe a couple of inches off, just to give us a little lead. Okay, next we're going to attach our garden hose connector. We're just going to use our slip to male PVC connector. We're going to put a little bit of Teflon tape on here. then that is pretty much it for the plumbing piece. Now we'll just connect the garden hose here, and then water will flow in. Once it reaches the level of the float valve, water will turn off, and we can adjust the level of the water inside by raising this up and down and putting a clamp on it and deciding how high or how low we want that water level to be. Super simple. Okay, so that was the footage of us putting this thing together. We didn't really do any footage on the platform. I mean, it's a simple box made out of a couple of 4x4s with some strips of 2x8 screwed to the top, and then we also put just a couple of I guess horizontal strips in there. That just gives the pigs a little bit of a foothold, but pretty simple box. And then we're going to attach it just with some pieces of chain, that #1 chain that I showed in our parts list. So let's go through this thing real quick. So in the front, the pigs have got a platform that they can step up on. They can stick their head over in and drink. And then as the water level goes down, that float valve that's inside will just open up and allow water to flow back in. And whenever it reaches a certain level, it cuts off. So what we've done with this, we've got our float valve here, and that's connected to our slip to female connector that we talked about. And then we have a piece of PVC pipe going up through the top. And I think we ended up cutting that at about 24 inches. I'd recommend you just do your own measurement on your drinker so that you're getting your height right. On the top, we just took a paddle bit and drilled a 1-inch hole in the top of the cap. So then our PVC pipe is coming up from the inside. We've got a 90-degree angle right here. And then we cut another piece that's about 3 or 4 inches, doesn't matter, just to give you a little lead. Then we've got a slip to a male, and then a slip to a male connector here. And then we use just a swivel for a garden hose. So that really is all there is to these. They're super simple. Really don't see any reason why you couldn't use one of these for goats or sheep, anything like that. We built this counting drinker parts, lumber, that's kind of the expensive piece, and some screws. You know, we built this thing probably for about $100. I don't have an exact cost, an exact price list on me, but about $100. This is based on a design from Jordan Green over at Farm Builder. I'll post a link to his channel in the description down below. This is not an original idea. Full credit to him for coming up with this and developing this style of drinker. The one that we've got out in the field, it's been deployed now for about 2.5 months. Works really good. We've not had any trouble at all with it. On nights that it's going to freeze, we do turn the water off. We go out and we will lift the PVC and the valve up out of the water level so that it drains real good, so that float valve doesn't hold water, freeze, and break. So that's our drinker, and it seems to work out pretty good. Oh, another thing real quick, when you're ready to move this deal, we will take the platform, we'll flip it up, tie it off so that it's not flopping around, and then when we're ready to drain, we can just open up our valve here, drain the water out. It's easy to move this thing with a set of forks on your tractor. Just pick it up, take it wherever you want to go. And also, that water in there is going to get super muddy. Pigs with muddy noses are going to be sticking their face in there, and you're going to get a lot of sediment down in the bottom of your tank. So you'll just need to rinse that out. Just a couple minutes of rinse, and most of that stuff's going to come out. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect for the piggies, but again, we're really tickled with this. Big time savings on buying some of the commercial drinkers. So I went ahead and finished putting the platform on, and you can kind of see there how that deal is going to work whenever you've got it folded up. And then we just put a screw through the bottom there, piece of chain around to hold that thing up while we're transporting it out to the field, or we're moving it around. So that just holds that out of the way, and then we'll just take the forks from the tractor and just come right under here, lift that thing up, and move it where we want to put it. So that's the field drinker. Pretty simple setup, not too hard to, not too difficult to build. And again, this is based on Jordan's design. This is not something I came up with, so full credit to him for putting this thing together. Real quick, again, our link to Amazon is in the description down below. If you're going to be doing any shopping on Amazon, go down and click that link and follow that over to Amazon. You don't get charged anything extra, but again, we do make just a little bit of commission on that. And that does help the channel. We're trying to upgrade some of our equipment so that we can bring a little bit better quality video to y'all and that kind of thing. So, but if you want to see how we deploy these drinkers initially, I'm going to post a link to that video right here, along with another video down here below with some other stuff we got going on. If you've not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Follow along with us. You never know what we're going to get into around here. But we appreciate y'all watching. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks.